What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Wrenching Wrecked. It's been a very long time since we were in the garage. It's still a mess. I haven't really cleaned up much in here, but here's kind of what we got going on. All of the bikes are out except for the Softail that I'm actually going to try and look at for the first time since I don't know when we got the other shop. This has just been kind of on pause, but we're going to take a look at some of the stuff on this, clear up some stuff so I can access this. Chopper, still need to run in the trailer and grab a peg, which might happen later today because I do think the trailer's getting moved today. I've been stalling on that, waiting for the camper at the shop to get picked up. Still there, but we're gearing up for a really busy weekend. We do a event in Chicago called Motoblot. I think they've been doing it for 10 or is this year 10 or year 11? We've been vending and working a booth over at that one forever. And in the past, I've ridden down there and Daddy's taken the van, whatever else. It's the city. I'm not a big fan of going to the city anymore, but we'll set up a booth. We kind of do it every year. It's just kind of the start of our summer show season outside of Iron Invasion, which we actually didn't make it to this year on the hot rod side. So what we're gonna do today, well, let me lay this out. It's Thursday morning. I got to go through and try and clean up some more stuff here so I can get to the Softail. Honestly, I've been stalling on this because I needed the spacers for the breather on the carb. It's such a stupid little piece, and I don't have any, but I have some washers that are way too big, but it should work. It won't be aesthetically pleasing, but it should at least let me get this done and put back together. Here's the gas tanks that need to go on, and then I gotta find the other tank. Maybe it's in this box underneath. I don't know. We'll have to do some digging. I don't know where I don't know how I lose it. Half of a set of tanks, but missing the tanks. This bike needs gas tanks, carb spacer, fuel line hooked up, and it'll run. I do have a new Vose switch, but I think it's in the Falcon, so I don't even care about that right now. I just want this done off the bench, moved over to the other spot so I can kind of clear that up. Daddy's always cooking and making fancy meals. Inside, we never have enough space in our freezer. Since all the bikes are gone, we have room for a deep freezer, so got this for 20 bucks on the old interwebs. I'd say that's a bargain. And then I started digging out all the Falcon parts, minus the carb kit. I actually pulled that out when I was working on the boat. But there's a 600 or 650 Harley thermostat and new thermostat housing and the single plane intake for the Falcon. So before we digress into that, that's a different project, but that's going to move over to the shop so I can start messing around with that at my earliest convenience, which in all honesty, I have not had a lot of free time. So let's get digging into the Softail, figure out where we left off, and I haven't even put my tools away. This is going to be fun. We'll be back when I clean up a little bit, get the chopper turned around, and make some space in here. Oh, I got to dig out some parts for a buddy of mine too. Riser bushings. I know I got some new ones in there, so I'll find those and get that set up, and then we'll take a look at this. Still not clean, far from it, but bike's turned around. There's a little bit more room here, so we can kind of start messing with this now. I do not have pretty shims or spacers. I'm just running real ugly ones that will fit for now. If I want to readdress this on the carb later, we can. Don't really care that much. I'm not actually in love with this bike, but it's the closest one we got, and it needs to just get finished. At least finished in test road so I can figure out what we need to do on that. So, grab my drill, and we'll start putting in some really big, ugly washers. Here is the breather and the bolt. Get this separated. Should go on the back side, I believe. We'll do 2 giant, ugly washers, if they'll fit. One. Make sure we're loose here. Need a flathead. All right. Loosen the cover up just a smidge. I'd like to get 2 washers on each side, if at all possible. Not gonna be pretty, but should be functional, which is way more important. That is literally what's been holding me up on finishing this. It looks like I'm missing 1 screw here. Maybe it's in the bin. Oh, you're in luck. Did have all 3. How did that take me so long to finish? It's a little embarrassing, but we've been busy working on other stuff. And the new shop is coming along nicely. So I'm gonna leave this vacuum cap on the carb here. And then as for the Bose switch, that's in the Falcon, I don't really feel like dealing with it. So now we're on to gas tanks. Fun. I think I got a box of some new stuff here too. Where is all of that? Here we go. So they are 2-piece tanks and they bolt in separate. So I think we'll start on this side. And then we're not going to top it off with a ton of fuel. We do have a brand new mount up front, so I need some little Allen keys for that. And then I think I had this for the rear mount hardware. Not sure exactly how this all goes. Let's get rid of the old. Never done newer bikes like this, so I'm kind of guessing here. But this is all brand new hardware. Looks like a sleeve, a couple bushings. I'm guessing this goes into the tank somehow. Might have a little bit of tank prep to do here. Let's see. All right, I have new bushings on here, so let me pop these off, put bushings in the tank. So this, I'm guessing, will press fit into the tank mount. Down here. So I'm gonna push these bushings in. I'm not gonna film that because it takes all my hands. And I don't really have a workbench or anything set up, so I'm gonna pop this metal bushing out, jam the rubber in, press this sleeve back in. So here's the rubber bushing in the new kit. Came with a sleeve. Very hard to press this into the tank when it's all together. So a little bit of grease if you need to. Kind of see how this goes. But I'll jam this in here. Like that. Now that's in there. And we'll take our bushing, drop this back in. And we'll be greasing these on the next go, just to make that slip in a little bit better. But essentially that's what we want on all the tanks. So it's got a nice little rubber mount. Should dampen the vibration a little bit as well. So there's that one, and then what I'm going to do now is go back to the bike and take off the new mounts here. And once those are off, what is that, 3/16, 5/16, 5/32? They're just hand tight in here, but take out all the fancy new hardware. Bolt. Got a cover, washer, big fancy washer, and then the bushing itself. Like that. We'll drop this right back in on the new set of tanks. It's the lower. These ones do not get a sleeve because the sleeve's on the bracket itself. And since the fuel line's on here, I'm going to kind of start on this side. Be careful using a flathead on here because you don't want to rip your brand new gasket bushing. There's that one. We got one more to go. Still hand tight. Pop this bolt out. Do the upper. And we'll leave the Vose stuff just dangling here. Because I don't know how that works yet. I mean, I understand how it works. I don't want to mess with it. The thing was running. This has probably been broken forever. If it runs like crap, we can address that at a later date. And then the easier one, right here. A lot more room to get to this last bushing. Like that. Now, I should be able to actually start putting this one tank on. So I think we're going to start at the front top mount and work our way down. And we'll wrestle the hoses through after. Should have grabbed my drill. Get this going with a couple threads just to hold it so it won't fall. And we'll do the bottom. Same thing. Gas line's gonna go yet. This fuel line's really in the way. Come on. There we go. And then as for the top, on this rear mount, we have a bushing setup. What size was this? Just got a hodgepodge of miscellaneous hardware in here. It's too big. There we go. Okay, loosen this lower one a little bit just so I get a little more room. What's going on? Why is this stuck? My vent tube hitting? Yes. Okay, new plan. Tweak the bottom one a little bit tighter, loosen the top. My vent tube's binding up on the dash. Drop all the important hardware that I need. re-get this situated. Am I hitting the wires? Come on now. Understand. Oh, that's great. Okay, let me find all the hardware I dropped. I'm gonna be right back. This is gonna be kind of a pain and I'm getting frustrated. So I greased up this bushing a little bit. That pulls that in a tiny bit up top, which is just fine. I'll get a couple bolts on here. So that one's on, bottom one's on. Now we can wrestle this rear mount in, hopefully. It's going in. I don't know if this bolt's too long. There we go. Tank is installed. Now I'll just tighten up these front ones. Really don't know where the hardware went for that. Let go. Brand new chrome plated. So obviously it's going to grab the bolt a little more. There we go. Half the tanks are on. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'll come back when that's... well, do you guys need to know how to hook up the hoses? Only thing goofy on the other side, this side of the tank, it's exactly the same. We have this lower, we have the upper with the bushing in between. So this is going to get reinstalled. When I loosen these, I'll put these bushings back in the tank just like I did on that one. And then the only other thing on this side is I have the crossover tube, which I'll wrestle through here right now. So this one will carry fuel. That's got a link to the other side before we put it in. And then the crossover vent up top. Those get connected. Fuel line comes down from the other side, and then we'll fish that around to the carb. We should have plenty of room for that. And hopefully this wiring left me enough room to get this tank on. And if not, I'll get frustrated and angry. I'm gonna get the tank on and then we're gonna worry about the connections with the exception of this upper one. There's also a vacuum hose or an overflow drain. This one's kind of beat up, but we'll jam that on here. So that goes here, crossover goes here. I'll try and get the crossover in first. I don't have hose clamps or anything on that one because it doesn't do all that much. So much easier to do this without the dash. But, all right, crossover's on the upper. That little bit of grease definitely helped sliding this in. And then, what am I hitting? Everything. Let's drop the door out of the way. I think I'm going to start with the rear one first this time. Like that. And we'll do the upper. A little bit of grease definitely helps getting that installed on the front here. And make sure we're on in the lower. Which we're not, but I got enough room to get it threaded. And we have a bike again. So there we have it. Put this off for 3 weeks and we're just about done. All I got left now is we gotta slide this back on here. I'll grab my pliers and just pinch that together, and then I gotta chase the fuel line over to this side. Oh, and we need fuel, which I actually have none of at the house right now. So that's hooked up. Crossover's still connected up here. Lights still work. And fuel line. How did I have this run? Oh, they did give me a cover for this too. Might as well use it. Maybe. Come on, fuel. Don't fight me. All right. There's the hose clamp, so that's a win. This Carb has a swivel S&S fitting on the bottom, which is kind of nice and kind of not. Can't tell if I like it or not yet. A little bit more fuel line wouldn't hurt. We also don't have a fuel filter hooked up, which is probably foolish, but whatever. Nope, I'm ditching this slotted plastic thing. It's getting in my way. Watch me melt a rubber fuel line now. The first time we do a test ride, that would be fitting.
I planted more peppers.
Okay. All right, let me get this hose on. You guys can't see it anyway. There we have it. Throttle is working. The only thing I got left is the S&S air cleaner, which I'm not going to put on yet until we kind of get this going. It already gets really tight in there in regards to trying to adjust and tweak things with these tanks on here, but tanks are on. Fuel lines are hooked up. We have working brake lights, and I tested the brakes the other day. It felt like the back was sticking, but it is disengaging. So we got free spin, brake, locked. It's just real touchy. I don't know if we're gonna have to bleed that a little bit. Same thing on the front. We got a nice grab feel here. I know the brake light I don't think was working on the rear. So we'll have to address that at some point, but not that much of a concern since we got a working front master with brake. So I think I'm gonna run up to the gas station. Shit, I don't even think I have gas cans up here. Let me see, if I can find a gas can, we'll fill it up and fire it up. If not, we'll do that later today. And we pretty much have a Softail back together now. I do still need to adjust the clutch before it comes off the bench. Got a new cable on there. No adjustment. I have never done a clutch adjustment on an Evo, but I'm assuming it's underneath the derby cover per the standard Harley application. We'll figure that one out. It might be backwards if it's anything like an Evo Sporty, but that shouldn't be too bad. Everything else is installed and tightened, minus the air cleaner. The air cleaner is the last part that I'll put on once we get it fired up and see how it runs and idles. I never hooked up the little breather here either. That kind of loops back. So I just have two open vents that will probably be misting oil for how long this thing's been sitting. You can check the oil real quick. I don't think we did a fluid change on this either. This dipstick's not long enough for this bike, but we're up to about here with oil. So I'm gonna call that good. We will try and grab a can of gas and fire this up later. But as I said at the beginning of the video, it's a really busy weekend. We got motoblock coming up, which means the truck needs to go back to the other shop. I need to grab the van so we can load up all the shirts, merch, powder coating stuff, set up our booth basically in the van. And I forgot about the Gorelli. So it does run, it's hard to start because I don't have it sitting high enough on the kickstand unless you like go in front of a curb and have that tire off, and then you can free spin it enough to get it fired up. This definitely needs some tuning still, and we got to get this at least buttoned up aesthetically. We're not going to be doing much riding since I will be working the booth all day, but we have these Gorelli stickers. I'm going to talk to my buddy about trying to do a rush job for me and grab a couple more of these. That's going on the tank there. And then we still have the little purple covers and the other doodads we got to get finalized and put on here. So that's where we're gonna wrap this one for now, unless I can grab gas and fire this thing up, but I promised Dottie I'd be working on that and finalizing that for the show, since we have, well, maybe that can wait till tomorrow. The show's on Saturday down in Chicago. Look up Motoblot if you're interested or in the area. Typically it's a little bit more of a British cafe oriented bike show, but they do have Harley sections, lots of cool bikes come out, and it's always a good time. It's nice running into the city folks that I don't see very frequently. Anyways, I gotta get jamming on the rest of this, so back to work. Well, we made it back. It's been kind of a long day just running around doing a bunch of errands. Took another load of, I can't see out of these are soaked because the rain started. Spent some time at the shop clearing out, filled up the truck bed with scrap, ran that to the scrap yard. Got a total weight on the truck after it was empty. It was like 4,200 pounds. With me, I'm about 200-ish, give or take. So I found out the truck's about 4,000 pounds. Just good info to know. But we got the van back. The moped is loaded up in here along with all the t-shirt boxes for Motoblot. So moped's sitting here, tables, all the booth stuff, pop-up tent, all that jazz. And I was sweating my behind off because I was playing around on the Gorelli. I didn't film anything on that, but got it running. Didn't want to start, and finally got it to pop and light off. Wouldn't hold idle, so I dropped the flopal, which I needed to do to jet the thing anyway. It needs more fuel, but dropped that, dropped the idle jet, found a chunk of something like a sediment from the tank clogging one of the idle jet passages. Blew that out, fired right up, idle's fine, idle's good. Pulled the air filter off, took it on a couple laps up and down the block. I'll walk you guys through the tuning process once I actually have the jets. The ones I have here are not the right size. It's like the smaller Delorto style, smaller jets. But it ran. If I ran it with the quarter choke, pulled great, RPM'd all the way. I think I went too far on the sprockets. It grabs, it goes, but it's slow as all get up until about 15, 20 miles an hour, and then it starts pulling real hard. I think I want to lower that power band. If it goes 45, I was shooting for 50, but if it goes 40, 45 and gets there quick, that's a way more fun ride. So, and we're not putting any long haul trips or anything like that on there. So Gorelli needs to be rejetted, but it's good enough and pretty enough to go to Motoblot. And this Softail. So we left off on this. The gas tanks were off. We got those installed this morning. I was hoping to fire it up. I do have a gas can. I turned it on and tried cranking it over, and she's... Here, I'll show you. I think it's on a charger now, but... Good. I haven't had this on a charger in forever, so I was hoping it would be fine, good to go, but there's not enough juice to crank this thing over, and this one's gonna wait. So hopefully tomorrow, maybe, we'll be able to get out here. I tried going swimming today too, and fishing, and the rain caught up with us, so put a damper on the day. So that'll be it for now. I gotta get to editing some videos because I'm way behind on that. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all those other fun things. If you're out in the city for Motoblot Saturday, I'll be there. And also, I don't even know if I mentioned it in the beginning of the video, but Saturday Motoblot Chicago, Saturday Sunday event. We're only doing the Saturday, then we're coming back here. I'm gonna sleep for a couple hours, wake up in the morning and hitch up the trailer from my neighbor's driveway and head straight up to Walnex on Sunday. So motorcycle event weekend. We got show in the city, no riding unfortunately, and then Walnex swap, no riding again unfortunately, but that's what I got the trailer for. All the parts are in there. The only other things I want to do tomorrow is hitch up Frankenstein, load that in the trailer, bring that out to the swap meet, and then I might put one or two of those ironhead motors in there because I need to free up some cash. So that's where we're at. Thanks for watching again. Appreciate it. Thanks for the comments and all the other things. We will catch you on the next one.